Hello Year 2, welcome to your maths lesson this week. Make sure that as always you have a pencil and some paper ready so that you can take notes, and make sure that you know how to pause this video so that you can come back to it if you need to later. Okay, this week we are going to learn about measure still, but this week we are learning about maths. So we're going to talk about maths today. You'll find lots of activities on these slides and of course the links to the White Rose ones as well. Okay, so your first slide is your verbal discussion. Question 1 is, how do we measure how heavy or light something is? So we're going to be talking about mass today. That is how heavy something is. So here, have a look at these pictures. Question 2 says, what do we measure with? Look at the pictures below to help you. So you might want to pause this here and have a think about it with your family. Question 3 is, what words do we use when we are comparing mass? So maybe have a think about how heavy the dog is, have a think about how heavy the eggs are, which one might be heavier, which one might be lighter. So again, pause here if you want to. Okay, how do we measure how heavy or light something is? So we are going to look today at measuring in grams and kilograms. We're measuring in grams and kilograms, and for comparing, that was your question 3. What words do we use when we're comparing mass? We use words like heavier, heaviest, light, lighter, and lightest. Those are the words we use when we are comparing mass. So slide 5, your can I is, can I compare measures? And your context is mass. Look at the pictures and use the words provided to compare the mass of each object. So here you've got heavier or lighter, you've got a ball, and you've got a teddy. So the ball is then the teddy. Have a go at filling in that sentence. Okay, here you've got another balance scale. We call that a balance scale. You've got an apple and you've got a pear, and you've got some sentences and you've got some words here to use to fill in those sentences. The pear is, and the apple, that apple is, and the pear. So have a go at that. Excellent, well done. So the ball is heavier than the teddy, because on the balance scale here you can see that the ball is at the bottom here, so we know that it's tipping the teddy up. Here the pear is heavier than the apple, and then we can say the apple, oh sorry, the pear is lighter than the apple because it's at the top here, it's tilting that way, and the apple is heavier than the pear. So we can also say the teddy is lighter than the ball. Okay, well done. Here you've got a mini activity to do for comparing. It says verbally compare the weight of some of the objects in your house. So here I've got my laptop, and my laptop is heavier than my phone. I hold the two in my hands, which I can do now, or it's a bit of a struggle to hold the laptop in one hand, but my phone I can hold in one hand, it's lighter. A packet of couscous is lighter than my kettle. I've been in my kitchen this morning, picking up all my objects in my kitchen and thinking which one is heavier and which one is lighter. And I am heavier than my book. I couldn't carry me around on my back all the time, but I can carry my book in my backpack with lots of other things. So it's definitely lighter than me. So you can pause the video here if you want to, or stop the video here, and you can go around your house comparing mass in your house. So remember, we're going to use these words when we compare. We're going to use heavy, heavier, heaviest, light, lighter, and lightest. You might want to write a few things on Google Classroom or take some pictures of things that you have been comparing, but you can pause the video here. Okay, well done for going around your house and finding all those things to compare their mass. I look forward to looking at all of those pictures if you've taken any. What we're going to do now is we're going to use a standard unit to measure mass. And that standard unit we're going to look at today is grams. So we're going to measure in grams. Now there are lots of different ways to measure in grams and lots of different scales that help us. So here, this is my scale at home. It's a digital scale. And that apple, if you make that picture a bit bigger, you can see that my apple weighs 114 grams. That's a digital scale. Shows me the number, a bit like a digital clock. This one is what you're going to see on your White Rose slides today. It's a balance scale. You might remember using those at school. We used to fill them with cubes or things so that we could see what or which objects were heavier or lighter. But here, there are some gram weights. So you might remember using those in school as well. This is a balance scale. The pencil has a mass of 15 grams. So you can see the balance is even. That means the pencil is equal to these weights, and the weights are 15 grams, 10 and 5. And this is an analog scale, a bit like an analog clock. And the cone has a mass of 18 grams. So you can see here the cone is sat on the top, and you can see from the arrow is pointing towards 18 grams. So there are 3 different ways that we can measure mass. And your first activity is to practice using a scale at home if you have one. So it says you can practice measuring in grams at home using a scale. You could measure out dry ingredients such as pasta or rice in different amounts. So you might have a scale that looks like this, or you might have a scale that looks like this. So you can practice measuring out things like pasta in 10 grams, 20 grams, 50 grams, or 100 grams. So your second choice is you could make something. You could measure out ingredients for a recipe. So here is a simple shortbread recipe that you could make at home. There's a link here. If you click it and click to this one, it will take you to the BBC Good Food website, and you can have a go at making some of those biscuits. They're quite simple to make. So have a go at measuring at home. You could take a picture. You could write it in your comments box to show us what you have been up to at home. But you can pause the video here and have a go at that. Okay, hi Year 2. Well done for completing activity 1. This is activity 2. It's your white rose sheet, and I'm going to talk you through the questions so that you can answer them at home. So again, you might have wanted to print this one out, or you might be accessing it on the computer, or if you don't have a computer or if you don't have a printer, you can access this just by writing it down on your piece of paper. Okay, so question 1, what is the mass of each object? So we looked at this one on our slides, and we know that the pencil is equal to these 2 gram weights added together. So you've got 10 and 5. So your pencil, the mass of the pencil, well, the pencil has a mass of 15 grams. So you can write that one in. Now, A is the same as B and C. So what you need to do is you need to have a look at your gram weights. You might want to write them down on your piece of paper. They're in tens. This one is a bit bigger than 10, and you can add them together. So the teddy has a mass of, have a look at what these would be added together. Same for the apple. You've got a 5 gram weight, a 10 gram, and some 20 gram weights. Again, on your piece of paper or using your fingers, counting in tens, you might want to add those together. And the apple has a mass of grams. Okay, question 2, you have got a ruler. And you've got lots and lots and lots of 2 gram weights. So here you might want to count how many 2 gram weights there are and count in 2s to find out the mass of the ruler. Question 3, you've got some 3D shapes. You've got a cone and you've got a cuboid. And these were the analog scales that we were looking at, and they go up in 2s. So this one, we looked at this one already on our slides, the cone, and this one, the cube. We can have a look at what the arrow is pointing to. So you can fill that one in as well. Question 4, you've got some analog scales still, but they go up in different amounts. So here you've got 0, and here you've got 10 grams, but you've got a little line in the middle. So we know that there is a measurement in between 0 and 10. So I wonder if you can have a think about what number would be halfway between 0 and 10. And then you can count in your increments of 5, because 5 is between 0 and 10. And you can count all the way around until this bit here. So have a look at this one. What's it pointing to? And here for the pear, it's in between 70 and 80. So have a think what number would be in between 70 and 80. Then it says, which piece of fruit is heavier? So like the comparing that we did earlier, you need to use those, think about that when you're looking at your banana and your pear, which one is heavier? Question 5 says, estimate the mass of the apple. So here we can think about what could be between 40 and 50. That's where it's pointing. Estimate how heavy the apple is. Okay, well done so far. You've got question 6 now. You've got to work out the mass of each 3D shape. So here you've got one of those ground weights that we looked at before, and you've got a balance scale. And you can see that this one is equal. So 2 of these spheres are equal to this. Then it gets a little bit trickier because you've got this now. You've got 3 of these. Here you had 2. And you've got a cube. So you might want to you need to have a look at how much it weighs. You need to have a think about maybe how much one of these weighs. Then you can times that by 3. And here you've got one of these again, but you've got 3 cones and you've got 2 cubes. So you're going to have to do a bit of problem solving there to work out how much it weighs. And how did you work it out? So when you upload some of your pictures, maybe you could show us how exactly you worked it out. So that is your activity 2. So super maths learning, year 2. Very well done for completing that. Look forward to seeing it on Google Classroom. Well done.